Hello, welcome back to Let's Play Jane's Fighters Anthology as we continue with the Jane's reference material. For today's episode, it's something I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting for, and it is here. Today's entry will be the F-14D Tomcat. Title, Grumman Tomcat. U.S. Navy designation, F-14. Type, 2-seat carrier-based interceptor with attack capability. Program, 1 U.S. Navy VFX fighter competition, 15th of January 1969. First flight of 12 development aircraft, 21st of December 1970. Original program was for 497 Tomcats, including 12 development aircraft. Program since extended into the 1990s. Initial F-14A deployed with USN Squadrons VF-1 and VF-2 October of 1972. Total 557, including 12 development aircraft, delivered to the U.S. Navy by April 1987. When production ended, final 102 aircraft, beginning with tail number 161597, delivered from fiscal year 1983, powered by improved TF30-P-414A turbofans, having same rating as the original 93 kilonewtons or 20,900 pounds force TF30-P-4112A or 412A, not 4112A. Design features: wing sweep back variable from 20 degrees leading edge to 68 degrees, oversweep of 75 degrees used for carrier stowage without wing fold. Wing pivot point 2.72 meters or 8 feet 11 inches from aircraft centerline. Fixed glove has dihedral to minimize cross-sectional area and reduce wave drag. Small canards in F-14A became known as glove vanes extend forward progressively to 15 degrees from inboard leading edge to balance supersonic trim and unload tail surfaces. Excuse me, it's worth noting that those glove vanes were mostly disabled and removed in service, and that's why you don't really see them or hear about them. Flying controls: lateral controlled by long span spoilers ahead of flaps and ailerons. Excuse me. Automatic leading edge slats assist maneuvering. Strakes emerge from wing glove leading edge at high airspeeds. Automatic wing sweep as manual override. Automatic scheduling of control with airspeed, auto stabilization and angle of attack protection, autopilot and automatic carrier landing system or ALCS, air brake panel above and below tail, between fins, twin fins and rudders. Structure: wing carry-through is one-piece electron beam welded structure of titanium TI6A1-4V titanium alloy with 6.71 meter or 22 foot span. Fuselage has machined frames, titanium main longerons, and light alloy stress skin. Center fuselage is fuel carrying box. Radome hinges upward for access to radar. Fuel dump pipe at extreme tail. Fins and rudders of light alloy honeycomb sandwich. Tail planes have multiple spars, honeycomb trailing edges, and boron epoxy composite skins. Landing gear: retractable tricycle type, twin wheel nose unit, and single wheel main units retract forward. Main units inward into bottom of engine air intake trunks. Original beryllium brakes were replaced with Goodyear lightweight carbon brakes from spring of 1981. Arrestor hook under rear fuselage, housed in small ventral fairing. Nose toe catapult attachment on nose unit. Power plant for the F-14B and D. Two General Electric F-110-GE-400 turbofans rated at 71.56 kilonewtons or 16,088 pounds force drive, and 120.1 kilonewtons or 27,000 pounds force with afterburning. Garrett ATS 200-50 air turbine starter. F-110 engine has 43% more reheated thrust and 37% more military thrust without afterburning than TF30-P-414A in F-14A. Results in 20% more specific excess energy, 30% lower specific fuel consumption and afterburner, 62% greater deck launch intercept radius, and 34% more combat air patrol time. Can be launched without afterburner, time to 10,670 meters or 35,000 feet, reduced by 61%, and acceleration time by 43%. Integral fuel tanks and outer wings, each with capacity of 1,117 liters or 295 US gallons or 246 imperial gallons. Between engines and rear fuselage with capacity of 2,453 liters or 648 US gallons or 539 imperial gallons, and forward a wing carry-through structure capacity 2,616 liters or 691 US gallons or 575 imperial gallons, plus 2 feeder tanks with combined capacity of 1,726 liters or 456 US gallons or 380 imperial gallons. Total internal fuel capacity 9,029 liters or 2,385 US gallons or 1,986 imperial gallons. An external auxiliary fuel tank can be carried beneath each intake trunk, each containing 1,011 liters or 267 US gallons or 222 imperial gallons. Retractable flight refueling probe on starboard side of fuselage near front cockpit. Accommodation: pilot and naval flight officer seated in tandem on Martin Baker NACES or GRU-7A and F-14AB, rocket-assisted 0-0 ejection seats under a one-piece bubble canopy, hinges at the rear and offering all-round view. Avionics: an F-14A Hughes AN/AWG-9 weapons control system, commonly referred to as the AWG-9, with ability to detect airborne targets at ranges of more than 65 to 170 nautical miles, or 120 to 350 kilometers, or 75 to 195 miles, according to their size, an ability to track 24 enemy targets and attack 6 of them simultaneously at varied altitudes and distances. Fairchild AN/AWG-15F Fire Control Set, CP-1066/A Central Air Data Computer, CP-1050/A Computer Signal Data Converter, AN/ASW-27B Digital Data Link, AN/APX-76V IFF Interrogator, AN/APX-72 IFF Transponder, AN/ASA-79 Multiple Display Indicator Group, Kaiser Aerospace AN/AVG-12 Vertical and Head-Up Display System. Armament: 1 General Electric M61A1 Vulcan 20mm gun mounted in port side of forward fuselage with 675 rounds of ammunition, 4 AIM-7 Sparrow air-to-air missiles mounted partially submerged in the under fuselage, or 4 AIM-54 Phoenix missiles carried on special pallets which attach to the bottom of the fuselage. 2 wing pylons, one under each fixed wing section, can carry either 4 AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles or 2 Sparrow or Phoenix missiles with 2 Sidewinders. F-14D has bombing capability. Rockeye and CBU-59 cluster bombs validated for F-14 December of 1992. GBU-16 laser-guided bomb and Gator Mine the Fall, AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missile, and surface land attack missile and anti-ship missiles. Planned but not yet funded. Dimensions: external wingspan unswept 19.54 meters or 64 feet 1.5 inches. Swept 11.65 meters or 38 feet 2.5 inches. Overswept 10.15 meters or 33 feet and 3.5 inches. Wing aspect ratio 7.28. Length overall 19.1 meters or 62 feet 8 inches. Height overall 4.88 meters or 16 feet 0 inches. Tailplane span 9.97 meters or 32 feet 8.5 inches. Distance between fin tips 3.25 meters or 10 feet and 8 inches. Weights and loadings of the F-14D with the F-110-GE-400 engine. Empty weight of 18,951 kilograms or 41,780 pounds. Fuel usable internal 7,348 kilograms or 16,200 pounds. External 1,724 kilograms or 3,800 pounds. Max external weapons load 6,577 kilograms or 14,500 pounds. Takeoff weight for fighter escort mission 29,072 kilograms or 64,093 pounds. Fleet air defense mission 33,157 kilograms or 73,098 pounds. Maximum takeoff weight 33,724 kilograms or 74,349 pounds. Max wing loading 642 kilograms per meter squared or 131.59 pounds per square foot. Max power loading 140.4 kilograms per kilonewton or 1.38 pounds per pound force. Performance with the F-110 engines: max level speed Mach 1.88, max cruising speed Mach 0.72, carrier approach speed 125 knots or 232 kilometers per hour or 144 miles per hour, service ceiling above 16,150 meters or 53,000 feet, field takeoff distance at 762 meters or 2,500 feet, field landing distance 732 meters or 2,400 feet, field range with external fuel approximately 1,600 nautical miles or 2,965 kilometers or 1,842 miles. Length 19.1 meters, height 4.88 meters, wingspan 19.54 meters, max wing load 642.5 kilograms per meter squared, max level speed 1,253 knots, service ceiling 16,150 meters. And here we can see the lovingly rendered, beautiful 3D view, which is probably one of the more detailed models in the game, to be honest, which makes sense. I mean, this was like the poster child for the ooh, that front isn't looking so great. It was basically the poster child for U.S. Navy fighters, which was the original incarnation of this game. And I believe in that game, I think it was actually the F-14D, technically. And then at some point, maybe in Fighters Anthology or USNF 97 Gold, I don't know. But at some point, they updated it so it was the F-14D instead of the F-14B. At least that's how I remember it. Maybe I'm wrong. Ooh, you can even see, I think these four, oops, rubbing it on my microphone there. I think these four little like spots here, I think those are like the missile mounting points. And then when they say fixed wing section, I think they mean that section as far as mounting some of the other weapons. But yeah, you'll notice they don't, most F-14s have some form of like camera or sensor under the nose, and it looks like they do not try to replicate that, which is a little weird since that's kind of part of its iconic image, but whatever. You know, overall though, it's a very well done model, especially in comparison to the ones that are intended to be NPC only. So, and of course, I mean, they couldn't not do a good job on it, right? I mean, it's the iconic F-14. This is what people bought the game for, or at least some people. So, and very beautiful fighter. And actually, because of this game and a couple other pieces of media, the F-14 will always hold a special place in my heart. Fortunately, I can't show all of this to you today because obviously there's that crashing issue, but we do have 2 videos to go through, so let's start with the design video.
The development of the Grumman F-14 Tomcat began in the late 1960s with a request issued by the U.S. Navy for a new supersonic air superiority fighter capable of performing both fleet air defense and deck-launched intercept roles. Parameters specified tandem crew, twin engines, track-while-scan long-range radar, and armament consisting of guns and long, medium, and short-range missiles. Therefore, the plan sought to develop an aircraft which retained the best features of the F-111B and combined them with the top attributes of the soon-to-be-replaced F-4 Phantom. These requirements were improved upon by adding an internal cannon for dogfighting and by separating the engines to minimize the risk of both being damaged simultaneously. After winning the competition for the F-14 in early 1969, Grumman flew its first prototype F-14A in December 1970. Carrier trials and extensive armament testing continued over the next 2 years and were followed by an initial order for 122 aircraft. By the end of 1988, 656 Tomcats had been delivered, and production of the F-14D Super Tomcat model was underway. Internally, the F-14D was completely new, containing features that allowed it to meet the enemy farther away, degrade his radar performance, and respond with longer-range, more reliable, smarter weapons. The major system improvements were digital avionics, high-speed radar, jamming communication links, more powerful engines, and improved ordnance. Delivery of the last Tomcat, number 712, was made in July 1992.
Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed we don't have a maneuvers video for the Tomcat, but oh well. And then we'll watch the history video before I give my commentary on certain issues of the Tomcat, so let's go ahead and watch that.
From the late 1970s through the 1980s, the F-14 Tomcat was considered by many to be the most glamorous aircraft in the U.S. inventory, riding high on its flashy movie star status and deadly combat accomplishments. Capitalizing on its multi-roles of fleet air defense, fighter interdiction, air superiority, and escort, the Tomcat soon gained a worldwide reputation as a formidable opponent. From the taking of the American hostages by Iran in November 1979 to Operation Desert Storm 12 years later, the Tomcat has played an active part in almost every international crisis of that era. Many of its most celebrated operational achievements have taken place over the Mediterranean and the Gulf of Sidra. On August 19, 1981, carrier-launched Tomcats shot down two Su-22 fitters with AIM-9L missiles after one of the Libyan fighters had attacked first and missed. On October 10, 1985, Tomcats were once more on the front page of newspapers around the world when aircraft from the USS Saratoga successfully intercepted the plane carrying the hijackers of the cruise liner Achille Lauro and forced it to land. And in January 1989, F-14s once again crushed Libyan aggression by downing two MiG-23 floggers in head-to-head combat. The F-14 Tomcat remains in active operational service with the U.S. Navy around the world and will, no doubt, take its place in history as one of aviation's greatest fighter aircraft.
If only that were so. But unfortunately, it was so good that it got such little chance to shine because no one wanted to fight him. There's plenty of... it's one chance, really, to be in any sort of major air-to-air engagement other than those skirmishes over the Gulf of Sidra would have been Iraq. But because of Iraqi experience fighting Iranian F-14As, they, as soon as they saw that the AUG-9 radar light up, they just ran away. And the Navy used that to some extent. And really, there was... But generally, you know, if they were on patrol, the Iraqis ran away. And the one chance that they would have really had to shine ended up... And I think I went over this in the F-14 operational history video, or the F-14 showcase video. That engagement was handed to the Saudis for political reasons, so that way we could pretend that they were participating in this war of theirs. That they, well, I shouldn't say that. Liberating Kuwait was the right thing to do. Obviously, the Saudis depended perhaps a bit too much on us, and still do to this day. But yeah, that engagement was handed off to some Saudi F-15s instead of Navy F-14s. So, and then likewise, you know, a lot of people when they talk about how, you know, oh, the F-14 was it was old, it had to be retired, even though, you know, the F-14Ds were basically brand new aircraft. We can look at that. Let's see. Entered service in... Where is it? December 1970-ish. Maybe 71 or 72. I think 72 is when it officially entered service. Thought it said somewhere. It should... Honestly, I'm surprised they don't have an operational history page for this. But then you look at the F-15C Eagle. The February 79. A 7-year difference. And yet the Eagles are still serving and the F-14 is not. And there's reasons for that, to be sure. One of them is that the F-14 was, deservedly so, had a reputation for being a hangar queen. The wing sweep mechanism especially was heavy and labor intensive to maintain. But I think some of those issues could have been resolved, especially with newer technology. You know, I mean, you look at the quantum leap between the F-14A and the F-14D, and you gotta wonder, you know, what if there had been an F-14E? And certainly Grumman proposed as such, but the combination between that and the kind of the end of the Cold War and the end of the threat of the Soviet bomber fleet kind of eroded the purpose of the F-14, and without a purpose, it made it really politically easy for Cheney to axe off as when he was Secretary of Defense, so he could give more contracts to his buddies at Boeing. And what really, really nabs me. And keep in mind, those F-15s, F-16s that were made in the late 70s, early 80s, they're still flying. But what really grinds my gear is how they had to shred just about every last Tomcat, supposedly to keep Iran from getting their grubby little paws on spare parts for their Tomcats. But I ask you, these Tomcats would have been maintained in that U.S. Air Force Reserve base down in Arizona. I think it is. Is it Tucson, Arizona? I think the Air Force Reserve maintenance facility, the Boneyard, as it's called. It's like, what did they think? Iran was just going to waltz in there and walk out with parts, and we were going to let them? Like, come on. Are you saying you have no faith in in the people who man your bases? But I think that was more politically motivated to make sure the F-14 could never come back, and therefore make sure more money went to Boeing or Lockheed Martin. But that's just my guess. I'm still bitter over it. I'm sour over it. When I was a kid, it was like there were three things I wanted to be: an astronaut, Starfleet captain, and an F-14 pilot. And I got deprived of the one that was probably the most realistic of all of those things. So, yeah, I'm a little bitter about it. And I will continue to be bitter about it for the rest of my life. But all that being said, I think the F-14 is a great fighter, even if it didn't get much of a chance to show off during its career, mostly in Iranian hands, unfortunately. But it is what it is. So I think we'll leave it off there for today. And next time we'll be taking a look at the F-15. But until then, thank you all for watching and stay tuned for next time and stay safe out there, and we'll see you then.